My name is Dave Gier, and if I was a type of wood, I would be honey locust.
My name is Janice, and I will do walnut.
I am Krista Chalafor, and I would be cherry.
Yes, you would. I'm Mike Bailey, and I'd be hard maple.
And I am also Mike Bailey, and I would be beech, because that is the wood that I worked with more often than not in my years at the ball mill.
My name is Corey Gier, and if I was a wood, I would be spalted maple.
Whoa!
Because it is so unique and
You just took your sisters.
an incredible wood type.
And my name is Katrina, and I also would be spalted maple.
Good choice.
I think it is just unique and beautiful and really one of a kind.
Hello, my name is Graham, and if I was a wood, I would be beech because I can't think of any other wood.
My grandpa started the wooden shoe factory. His dad immigrated from the Netherlands and had a cigar shop on 8th Street way back in the early 1900s. And Grandpa Chet started the Dutch novelty shops on 4th and River. And they actually they made Dutch souvenirs. And then they got a wooden shoe carver in the window on 4th Street. Grandpa wanted a second wooden shoe factory, and they built a wooden shoe factory on M21. My uncle managed that. They worked there. They worked hard, but they did it honestly and fairly. My dad spent 25 years in a VA hospital from World War II. My mom was the go-to person for my sister and I. We lived, just the three of us for many, many years, and she was fabulous. She's the type, she'd be driving down the street and she had a can picker-upper thing where you could extend it out the car door and she'd see a pop can on the side of the road. She'd be going, work. But everybody remembers that. Pull over, reach out, grab it, bag in the back seat. Away she'd go.
As Dutch as you get.
There's no way, as Dutch as you get, she was going to give up that 10 cents. My sister and I, my cousins, we'd all ride in the parade of tulip time. And she'd say, okay, now the bus groups are going to come. They're going to take your picture by this windmill. So smile and be nice. And she gave us all a wooden shoe bank. And she'd say, she put a couple coins in it. She'd say, when these people come up, shake your bank a little bit because you're going to make some money. And I said, oh, okay. So we all stood there. The people would take our pictures. We all rattle our banks. They'd fill up fast. So she'd empty them out, put us back out there again. So I don't know whatever happened to all that money. And I'll never forget it, in 1956, my mom and my sister and I were at our house on Cherry Street in Holland. The phone rang and my uncle said, sis, the wooden shoe's on fire, it's burning down. Christmas Eve, and the wooden shoe burned down. We drove over there and watched it burn. Luckily, the wooden shoe machines at that factory were saved, and then they rebuilt in 1962 on US 31 and 16th Street. My uncle had heard of the Fuller Bowl Mill and contacted Victor and Charles and wanted to sell the wooden bowls in the wooden shoe factory. They put a deal together and then it actually put a whole separate room in the wooden shoe called the bowl room. And the whole room was full of wooden bowls, utensils. We'd engraved windmills and tulips different things in the bowls and all that stuff. People loved it. We ended up buying the bowl mill in '87 because the two brothers, Victor and Foley, wanted to retire. And Mike was instrumental, Big Mike, instrumental in training and learning how, building the machine. We put up a building behind the wooden shoe factory, moved the bowl mill from Muskegon, and put the old lathe there and everything. And
my mother worked at the wooden shoe factory, so when I was 13 or 14 years old, come here to work. And you were there and grew into the company. We grew and just kind of kept going.
I learned a lot all the way through high school, college. So I went to Northwood, and at that college, there was 1,000 guys there and 100 girls in that college. And a good friend of mine said, there was a party coming up. She said, I want you to meet somebody. I'm going to introduce you to Janice Donnelly. I said, oh, okay. So that's how I met Jan, and we hit it off pretty good. I had to work at it a little bit, but so we did, and then we dated all through college, got engaged, and were married in 1973. And we just have had a fabulous relationship for all those years. And I became good friends with Mike, and he married Jan's sister, Sharon, so we were very close together as families, his 4 kids, our 5 kids. And so we all grew up together, did stuff together constantly other than work.
It's just been a big family thing. I mean, yeah, at that time we weren't family, but we became family.
When I started running the wooden shoe factory, I mean, I worked for months on end without a day off. Tried to do too much myself. We hired all our tulip time help. Most of it came through Hope College. And we'd hire 50 or 60 students. We had clothing racks full of Dutch costumes. They'd try on the Dutch costume, and they'd take that with them, and then they'd come work. And we had the Frater fraternity do the parking, and they come in and give them all walkie-talkies. We'd park buses. We have 100 buses on Saturdays. In the store, we had crowd control. We had people regulating. 20 people would go out, 20 people could come in. They're lined up outside, 4 deep, all the way past the tap room from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. So many people, and rainy days were not good. We put in 2 huge tents outside. We had Dutch dancing, and it was just a huge, huge draw for folks. They all wanted to come to Wooden Shoe because we offered so much for free. The whole Wooden Shoe Factory tour was 25 cents.
But I have such this beautiful layout of exactly how the Wooden Shoe Factory was. I mean, I can just close my eyes and envision walking through the front door, walking through the back.
And then you had the engraving, then you had the toys, right?
Oh man, Celeste, all those people.
And the china to
I
the
would say all
left.
the china
And then you have the cookies,
the cookies
and the fudge.
and candy.
Doing the samples.
Right.
I also remember tasting all of the black licorice
Oh, disgusting.
because it was all Dutch black
It was
licorice.
horrible.
And we had to know the saltiest to more the mild.
I remember that.
So
And
like
so,
really
Definitely.
the customers,
yeah,
like,
and so then they would ask
The
us about
saltiest. I remember
the black
that.
licorice. All of the years of street scrubbing, going to the Wooden Shoe Factory during tulip time, we all had our costumes
Right.
on. We all got the pictures.
Mhm.
We all had our own wooden shoes.
Yep.
You know, Mom carrying both you and Kara on, her hip, matching costumes, and
Oh, it was
same with
perfect.
your
It was
family
perfect.
and
Just the
time.
best childhood ever.
Yeah, it was my first job, and I worked there for years upon years. And I remember working hours and hours and hours, and then adding up all that money, and then looking at home like how many new shirts I could get because I was, in high school or whatever. Being the oldest, I think I really was able to really have the emotional sort of connection to being able to kind of have that feeling among Mom and Dad and the high stress times and the low stress times when work really was was stressful when you own your own business and really trying to gauge those emotions. And I, really remember thinking different times in my life, thinking I never want to own my own business.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a lot of like burden you carry when things aren't great. And then, even when you celebrate your successes, it comes with how do you continue that success?
It is. You're worrying about every employee's
Right.
family.
It's being in a family business, it's nonstop busy. You're working unbelievable hours. We had, in the heyday, we would have over 300 buses in 1 week. And thousands of other people in cars and lines, and we had 80 employees. And the Saturday of that May of '99, Harry drove over from the Dutch Village on Saturday, the busiest day of tulip time, and we had 6 people in the wooden shoe factory on Saturday of tulip time, and Harry said, "We have none." I said, "What is going on with the tourists?" It just was, the economy had slowed down in those couple of years, and I think the tourism industry in general changed. It wasn't just the wooden shoe factory, it was all of Holland. I mean, everybody was just way slow.
I remember when the wooden shoe factory closed and how
Oh,
devastated
it was
I was.
heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh.
I remember finding out and feeling how that devastation.
It was
So
horrible.
emotionally, he was so attached to everything that he did that coming out and being, expressing that it was time to close the wooden shoe factory was really difficult for him.
For me, it was awful. I mean, it was, we had Channel 8 doing interviews because, 1926 to 1999, and I'm third generation closing the original wooden shoe factory. But it was just, we couldn't keep going anymore.
It was sad to see it just go downhill over the years. So I think we probably made the right decision as far as, getting out of the retail tourist industry and then concentrating on the bowl mill.
That transition was tear-filled, but I do remember something my dad had said, and I remember thinking, okay, yeah, like this transition into the bowl mill was his thing.
But in order for us to expand and grow that, we needed new machinery, new equipment. We were working with lathes that dated back to the early 1900s.
The way they made the bowls the old way was quite physical. I mean, there was a lot of heavy lifting, and you had to push the cutting knife into that spinning block of wood using your hip. So I probably after 10 years of working there, I had to have my hip replaced. Just that constant vibration wore my hip out.
We put our heads together and developed and designed new machinery, new equipment. And it took a couple years. That lathe, one of a kind, and it's instrumental in how the company's
Most
grown.
amazing machine that was ever built.
No one like it anywhere.
It's still working 22 years later. We haven't made any changes to it to speak of. You didn't get your body beat up so bad like you did with the old machinery.
What goes into making a wooden bowl? People don't understand that.
Right.
It's not mass. It's not CNC.
Right.
It's from tree to final product. There's
Right.
a lot that goes into making each bowl, and that's a really cool thing about it.
A wooden bowl can be, become a heirloom piece. It can be passed down from generation to generation, whether it's for, to serve for a family dinner, or it could be for a wedding or an anniversary. There's always just a special meaning behind our bowls.
I think the craftsmanship, too, that goes into the making of bowls the uniqueness of every bowl. Never two bowls alike. Everyone is different.
They just hold up so well, and they
Yeah.
they're just always beautiful. The wood and
There's such a unique look
You,
to it.
you
You
know,
immediately.
you know if it's a Holland bowl mill.
You know
Oh, you do.
immediately.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I've been doing it since I was 14 years old. Been working for the company that long. Just took a break from it for a little bit and then fell back into it, and it turned out to be just an amazing thing.
I would say in the back of my mind, I always thought I would end up at the bowl mill, but through high school, college, I looked at some different avenues and just kind of never found my place and knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I struggled with that for a lot of years.
Yes.
And then I just started working at the bowl mill more in the sanding room and finishing, kind of learning the company, got a lot closer, with my dad, working with them every day. And then as that relationship grew, I saw there was so much potential with the company to kind of take it to a different level with the e-commerce platform and getting back to more of the retail and tourism aspect. And as I kind of started taking a more prominent role within the company, I started to fall in love with it. And then at that point, I knew this is where I want to be and what I want to do.
I never really envisioned myself working for our family. I knew the bowl mill was growing very fast, and so Corey had given me a call and was letting me know, we want to hire someone else to help him in the office. So everything just kind of fell into place at that point.
the cutting blades, which I used to hand forge all the cutting blades. Dave and I are both old school, so to get these younger guys in here doing like Corey is doing with the E-Trade and the websites, and then my son Michael, these guys that are setting up CNC machines, and to see the progress that has been made from what Dave and I wouldn't even consider doing because of our age and our educations with that, to see these younger guys come in and start working on that, that's pretty cool.
I think about my son Graham and how conscious he is about the environment.
I think I ate a bagel on a wooden bowl today.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We use ours
Nice.
all the time.
And that's such a good point too. I think that's helped with the growth of the company, is exactly what you're saying. So many people are so
Absolutely.
Environmentally friendly.
Yeah, and that's what they love about us. I think we've done a really good job of finding ways to utilize all of our wood and become a zero waste company, which my dad always wanted to do, and he did such a good job at it with the shaving. All the shavings go to for
Everything.
horse bedding, excess wood that we can't make the bowl, into bowls gets made into cutting charcuterie boards. Now we do tons of different utensils. We do trees, we do candlesticks, we do a little of everything. So many of our new products aren't always ideas by myself or my dad or Krista. They're employees coming to me saying, hey, this bowl has a crack. We could turn this into a Michigan-shaped bowl. We could turn this into a heart-shaped bowl, which is a lot of fun and very satisfying for our employees, knowing that we're putting the trust into them to come up with these different products.
They transition them from one spot to the next, till they're all can handle everything on the floor. And so everybody can do pretty much anything is what our goal is.
Kind of always been like a family
atmosphere
type thing. I mean, you're my
Yeah.
brother-in-law, and we worked together for over 40 years.
Yeah,
And bring my kids in, and
yeah.
it's all kind of
It's
just
always
one big
been that
happy
way.
family.
Yeah.
With
It really
your
is. It's
mom
amazing.
Knowing now that our product is carried in all 50 states, about 350 stores. Now our e-commerce platform has grown so much, we ship to Australia, Dubai, and thinking about, or like the holiday season, the thousands of people or opening up gifts from the bowl mill
Yeah.
on Christmas morning. It's just kind of mind blowing to think about that,
Yeah.
but it's so cool. It's pretty incredible.
It's
and
just amazing.
So much of what has happened with the company is because of you and the values you installed in me with how to train employees, how to treat employees, what type of atmosphere to build. To have those things be successful, you need to have a good foundation.
Yeah.
And you definitely have been instrumental in your, my grandfather, great grandfather, building that foundation. And that's what I want to continue to do.
And that's
If this
what'll
gets to
happen.
the next generation,
Yeah.
that's key for a family-owned company, in my opinion, to survive through generations, is having that foundation.
And I agree so
And,
much. That's why they
yeah.
succeed, of that exact attitude and relationship, and that's how they grow and keep going. I mean, I'm 72. I don't have a problem going to work. I mean, I enjoy it. The wooden shoe factory, the Holland bowl mill. I mean, it's one of a kind anywhere. You can't. Holland bowl mill. What's a Holland bowl mill? What's a bowl mill? You try to explain it. There's not another place like it. And so I'm proud of that fact that we have one of a kind business that my family, we own.
Is there a downside to working with family?
No.
No.
No, I mean, it's
Not
you have your
anymore.
ups and downs.
We've
and
had
it's,
all of
but
us
no,
have
I
had our ups
love
and downs.
working with family. I always have.
This is
Yeah, I mean, I do it all over again in the blink of an eye.